Good morning everyone and welcome to the very first edition of NeuroSci. So here's a quick introduction to me. My name's Katie Clements, I'm nearly 21 years old and I'm just about to become a third year undergraduate at the University of Manchester studying cognitive neuroscience and psychology. I think it's super cool. I hope you guys think it's pretty cool too because that's what this channel is going to be all about. So cognitive neuroscience and psychology, it sounds really complex, but it's basically just study the brain and how it affects our behaviour. This can range from the really simple stuff that we're doing every second, like moving and sensing, to the more complex things like how we're interacting with other people and how we're experiencing our emotions. With regards to this channel, I'm going to be honest with you, my motivations are primarily fairly selfish. I kind of want to use this to expand the breadth and depth of my knowledge during my final year so that I can sort of hammer it in when it gets to exams. However, hopefully by putting it out there to you, it might be a mutually beneficial thing. I'd also like to point out that as I'm still doing my degree as an undergraduate, I'm not exactly an expert on everything. I'm definitely going to try and research everything as thoroughly as I can, but I might get it wrong sometimes. So if you have noticed I've got something wrong, just feel free to tell me in the comments. Right, that's the end of the introduction, so now I'm going to get things started with a quick overview of the brain. So this is my friendly whiteboard. You might see a lot of him on this channel. I like to illustrate my points, what can I say? Our body has several internal systems for various processes. We've got things like the digestive system and the circulatory system, but we're looking specifically today at the nervous system, consisting of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves leading out to the rest of the body. There's also some protective stuff in there, but we'll come to that in a later video. Now, in some members of our species, the brain exists here, but in the majority of humans, the brain resides inside the skull. Our brain is divided into two hemispheres, the left and the right, and these communicate with each other via the corpus callosum, which is a bundle of nerve fibres in the centre. The brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, and each of these synapses or connects to thousands of others. So, unsurprisingly, our body thinks it's pretty important, and it devotes about 20% of our blood supply just to power it. The brain comprises the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. The cerebrum is the bit you think of when you think of a brain. It's the big pinkish-grey squishy bit. This bit is divided into four lobes: temporal, parietal, frontal and occipital. These all have multiple functions, but in general most of your hearing happens in the temporal lobe, your visual processing happens in the occipital lobe, your general somatosensation, that's feeling where things are on your body, touch sensation, that happens in the parietal lobe, and your frontal lobe is responsible for some of the bigger stuff like thoughts and decision making. And then there's the cerebellum, which is this little bit here. It's mostly involved in movement, but it may also have other roles to play in functions such as attention and fear and pleasure responses. And the brainstem. This relays information to and from the brain via the spinal cord, and also controls some of the more important brain functions that we need to live, such as breathing and heart rate. Then there are the neurons, or the nerve cells. I showed you one of these earlier. They look a little bit like this, and they carry the chemical and electrical messages to and from your muscles and organs. But we're going to go into more detail about that in the next video. So that's all we've got time for today. Please give me a like if you like this video, and subscribe up there if you want to see any more. Feel free to leave any comments or questions down in the comment section, and thanks very much for watching. See you next time.